In this video, I'm going to be talking about a new Jordan model, and it's the category of Jordans that I really love. You know, the kind that are accessible and relatively reasonably priced. It's not all unicorns and rainbows though, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. This is the Jordan Stay Loyal. Let's get into it. So I feel like before I go any further, I do want to talk about why I love the category of available, cheap, okay, maybe not cheap, but reasonably priced Jordan models. The reason for that is because one of the things that frustrates me the most about the sneaker scene at the moment is just how normalized it's become to pay resale for a pair of retro Jordans. I mean, there are a lot of times that you'll have to go to the resale market to buy a pair of one mids, which is crazy considering a couple of years ago you could easily cop these at retail, and most people apparently don't like the mids anyway. The real issue with having such a normalization of paying this resale price for shoes is that you're limiting the people that can then access the sneakers. And while that sucks, I think the people it impacts the most are those that don't necessarily have the resources to buy their own shoes. And I'm thinking about kids. Like me and many other sneakerheads, we started our obsession with sneakers when we were younger. I was definitely not allowed to buy sneakers in any way that resembles my spending habits today. I was probably allowed to buy like one pair a year. The reality is back then I could lust over a pair of sneakers. I could look forward to when I was about to buy a pair and find a pair available of whatever it is that I wanted. Parents are generally not going to pay 3-4 times the retail price for a pair of shoes just because their kid likes them. And that's why I like silhouettes like the Stay Loyal. They take inspiration, and I mean genuine inspiration, from the retro models before it. You get the feel of those classic aesthetics in a package that is a lot more reasonably priced so that you can actually buy them and you don't feel bad wearing them. It's not without its issues though. I think there is a compromise that's made with materials and craftsmanship. And on the point of craftsmanship, I think the Jordan brand has struggled with this even in its more premium silhouettes, so it probably becomes more of an issue in its more budget orientated models. And in the case of the Stay Loyal, I did find some issues with the model I received. There was some pulling in the textile materials, but to Nike's defense, as soon as I let them know, they were only more than happy to kind of work with me to give me a couple of different options to try and fix it. Outside of that, the materials are okay. They're not the best, but they're not bad either. And that's where the complaints for me stop with the Stay Loyal. In Australia, the Stay Loyal retails for $160, which makes it the cheapest model that is available in a mid-top. It's on par with the one mid, but I don't really think we can make a comparison just because the one mids are so hard to get these days. And what that $160 gets you is a silhouette that borrows really heavily from the Jordan 12. And I've got to say, it definitely gives you those Jordan 12 vibes, which I love because I love the Jordan 12. I feel like the Jordan 12 is not a sleeper, but it's kind of one of those releases that flies under the radar, but it sells really well for good reason. It's a killer looking silhouette. It was released in a really interesting time as well for the Jordan brand. They were transitioning to be their own entity, and it was sandwiched between the really premium models, the 11 and the 13. The 11 has that patent leather upper, and the 13 had that quilted leather upper. The 12 is still obviously a premium silhouette and it looks really sweet, but I think it has this really beastly look to it as well. And some of those design cues make their way to the Stay Loyal. In particular, you've got this rising sun detail along the sides of the shoe and the really aggressive outsole pattern that kind of wraps into the midsole. Well, not kind of wraps, it does wrap into the midsole. Those design cues coming from the 12 don't overpower the Stay Loyal, so it does have its own identity. And it's not the first time the Jordan brand have used the term loyal for a model name. There was the Be Loyal that was released in 2007, but these shoes are not really part of the same category, I guess. The Be Loyal was more of a performance orientated version, whereas I feel that the Stay Loyal is a more lifestyle orientated version. The Be Loyal had premium materials on the upper and had a lot of tech put into it to make it a beast on the court. I'm pretty sure it was even worn by a couple of signature athletes back in the day. But that's nothing to be mad about, because what we do get in the Stay Loyal is a really lifestyle friendly package. The upper is made with a few different materials. You've got a leather panel around the toe box and the lower panels along the midfoot. That feels okay, and it's kind of slightly textured, and then you've got a nicer smooth leather panel around the heel. There is the textile material that goes up and down the medial and lateral sides of the shoe with that rising sun detail that was an iconic feature of the Jordan 12. The tongue is mostly textile and padded, which is nice, but it has this like weird ass suede, fake suede type of material on it that just feels weird, and I could have personally have done without it. The issue with that fake suede is also that it catches a lot of dust. Even me taking these shoes out of the box, there is like these little speckles of something on there that just make it look a little bit dirty. But the use of that material isn't overdone. Cushioning in the Stay Loyal comes courtesy of an air unit in the heel. That air unit is pretty hefty and it provides a nice contrast against the rest of the midsole. The midsole in the forefoot feels quite stiff, feels almost like a performance shoe, which kind of leads me to think that this might actually be not bad on the court. Which is a good cue to talk about this outsole. This outsole is relatively plain looking in the sense that you've got one color and a Jordan logo in the forefoot, but what you're getting is a heap of herringbone that wraps right up into the midsole in the forefoot and midfoot as well as the heel. Overall, I think it really makes for a beastly look to the shoe. The rubber itself feels quite hefty as well, and so I think from a durability perspective, these would go for ages. The Jordan Stay Loyal fits true to size. Unlike some of the retro models that have a little bit more of a forgiving fit, I've found the Stay Loyal to be more like the modern type of Jordan shoes, and for me, those guys all seem to fit pretty much my US 13. At the moment, I've only seen the Stay Loyal available on the Nike website. I have noticed that there is a bit of a lag between the latest type of Jordan models and other retailers getting them, but eventually most other retailers do get them. And what's really great about the Stay Loyal is that it's made available in a few different really nice colorways. There was a black and red version that was initially made available, but I held off getting that guy only because I've got so many shoes that have that similar colorway. I opted for this guy and I really like it. I'm interested in your thoughts though. Let me know if you've taken notice of the Stay Loyal's release and what you think about them. Until the next video, laters.